Hello students, welcome to my class. Well students, we'll move towards the next concept. As we know that we are studying about in history, the first lesson, what, where, how and when. So we'll continue to the next one. So why do people travel nowadays? So in your textbook, so there is a concept. So why do people travel nowadays? So this is the next paragraph in your textbook. Okay students, just I have made two columns here, past and present. Column 1 past and column 2 is present. So these two columns speaks about how was the lifestyle of the people in the past and how is the lifestyle of the people in present. Well students, the people used to travel in past, in olden days, in search of food and shelter, So the people were busy in searching of food and hunting and for shelter. So there was no permanent settlement in olden days, in past. They don't have any permanent settlements like how we used to, we are staying at our home, we constructed our house and we are staying there. So like that, in olden days, in past, there was no houses for them. They always keep on moving. So there was a migration process, just keep on moving. There is no permanent settlements. So they used to move from one place to another place in search of food and shelter. And slowly they started settling near the rivers, near the banks of the rivers, because they need water. So water is the main source for our life. So they started living near the rivers, the bank of the rivers, and the agriculture. They depends upon the agriculture. So this was the life of the people. And wherever they used to get water, they move. They are living the places and they used to move for agriculture. Next, when the people are civilized, they came to know about the business. Business means the exchanging of goods for money or rupees. And when the people moved from one place to another place, they exchanged their ideas. When people become civilized, they exchange their ideas, skills, techniques, art, and the types of agriculture and the agricultural technologies what they introduced. So these are the lifestyle of the people of the past. So that's why do people travel in the past and why are people traveling nowadays? See, nowadays at present, you no need much explanation because we are in present society, generation. We know how is our generation. See, technology has been introduced for transportation. So in all kind of ways, we are very good in traveling. In airways, waterways, and in roadways, we have transportation facilities like railways, bus. We have our own vehicles, so it is possible. It is very easy. This technology made our life very easy to fast movement in the planet Earth. And people are traveling nowadays because of their studies, higher studies. People will go from place to place, and people will move to foreign countries or abroad. So people are traveling for business and for profession, work and entertainment. If it is any entertainment, if they want to go for any world tour or foreign tour, so they will go. And recreation, fun and recreation, and playing games. So we have varieties of games. We have Asian games, we have Olympic games, we have world tournaments like tennis, football, cricket. So the players will move from place to place. Yes or no? See, this is at present how our lifestyle is. So the people will travel nowadays because of all these reasons. So people traveled in past because of all these things. Just read the textbook which is given in our textbook, the information which is given. So you will come to know. So this is about why do people travel nowadays. Okay, I will move towards the next concept, finding about the past. How to find out the past? I told you many times, we need clues and evidences. We need clues and evidences regarding the past. So then only it is possible to finding about the past. So these clues and evidences usually we will get it from sources, historical sources. So these sources are categorized in very first class, in introduction, very first class I have given the sources of history, like literary sources and archaeological sources. Literary sources and archaeological sources. So literary sources like manuscripts, inscriptions, the information which is provided in the coins, and it engraved on stones and pillars. So these are all literary sources, so which is provided by writing. Next, archaeological sources like fossils, bones, monuments, buildings. So these are all archaeological sources. So these are the clues and evidences finding about the past. So who will collect the informations about the past? Usually the historians and archaeologists. So without historians and archaeologists, it is not possible for us to get the informations about the past. So I will give the definitions for historians and archaeologists when I will give SLA. So historians means a person who collect the informations about the past and he will record the informations about the past. And archaeology is a process of it is also a branch of history. So it is a process of gathering clues and evidences regarding our past. Archaeology, for example, digging the soil, digging the land and finding about searching of any tools, the things, the materials, what they used, the people, what they used in past. Okay, so without historians and archaeologists, studying about our past, studying about our history is not possible. So the clues and evidences are very essential and important. Okay students, in your textbook, page number 4, there is an informations which has been given. So how to finding about the past. So I told you manuscripts, literary sources. So this is the manuscripts which is write on palm leaf by hand. In olden days there was no printing technologies and paper technology. The concept of paper, how we have recorded these informations in books by using printing technology. So in past there was no such kind of technologies. So they depend upon palm leaf and they used to write on the palm leaf. So this is called manuscripts. Script means writing. Manu means human beings, handwritten. So this is also one of the clues and evidences for literary sources. And also old inscriptions. See, this is old inscriptions. On the wall the informations have engraved. So this is also example for old inscriptions. Just hold on. Okay students, so this is then clues and evidences which is found in Kandahar, Afghanistan, present day Afghanistan. So as per the historians and archaeologists, these inscriptions belongs to Ashoka, the king Ashoka. So this was this inscription they dated in about 2250 years ago. So about 2220 years ago. So this inscriptions was engraved and this is now historical sources. So just read once, you will come to know many examples, such type of examples in your textbooks. So finally the finding about the past. How to find out the past? We can find out about our past by clues and evidences which is given by historians and archaeologists. So you know which are the literary sources and which are the archaeological sources. On the basis of this you can gather the information. Just make a list. So after reading this concept, just make a list of literary sources and archaeological sources. So you will come to know. And the next one is one past or many. One past or many. So means how many pasts are there? Means how history is divided. How history is divided. So just hold on. I will explain the concept. Okay students, one past or many. How many past were there to study about the history? See, there are many past in our history, means each and every day, so there will be a new concept, new records are going to create in our history. For example, yesterday is history for today. Last year was history for today. So like this, it is keep on developing, it is keep on growing. The concept of history is keep on growing. So that's why we have many past. We have many past. So this past is divided into prehistoric age and historic age. Historic age and prehistoric age. For example, right now the textbook which you are going to use, you are using the 6th standard textbook, that is our past one. Our past one. So it is a record of events about prehistoric and historic. Prehistoric and historic. So if you come to 7th standard, our past 2, the name of the textbook is our past 2. So once again the middle age, it is a study of middle age. And if you come to 8th standard, our past 3. So like this, our past is categorized on the duration. So for example, prehistoric and historic age. So what is the meaning of prehistoric? The concept of writing was not there, which was not there. The concept of writing. Got it students? For example, manuscripts, inscriptions. So it was introduced, it was developed when the people were civilized, when the rulers were ruling. The kings were ruling. So by the time they had an idea about the writing. So before that, when early people, the Stone Age people were living, so it was also the period of history. The concept of writing was not there, so it was not possible for them to record their lives. It was not possible for them to record their lifestyle, their achievements. So we got these informations only through archaeological sources like fossils, bones, the tools what they used. But in historic age, we came to know about their period and their life history by clues and evidences which provided by them itself, like manuscripts, inscriptions, the coins, because they used to keep their records. Their achievements, their battles. The concept of Sanskrit was there in historic age, and the people what language they used to speak. So in such type of language, they recorded the informations by introducing and by writing, by learning their what I used to call the literature. So the literature helps people to store the informations like this prehistoric and historic age. Like this we can study about our past. So that's why we used to call one past or many. And what do you date mean? Dates. So dates are very important to study the history, students. So what is the meaning of dates? So date means day and time evaluation. Day and time. Time means it may be week, or it may be year, it may be month, it may be century. Okay, like this, the dates are very important to study the history. So suppose to say the concept of chronology. So chronology is a order of historical events. So these dates are helps to study history about or to construct the chronology. For example, for first war of Indian independence, 1857. Next, India became independence in 1947. So like this, The historical events are organized on the basis of date. See, for example, 1857 first war of Indian independence, and 1947 India declared as independent from the British rule. See, this is the dates. So which one will come first? 1857. Why? As per the order, chronology. So here the before Christ and CE, and sometimes we also we use like AD, Anno Domini. So common era. So this Anno Domini is nowadays we are using as common era. So this is before Christ, BC. So what is the meaning of BC and CE? So BC means before Christ. When as per the Christian calendar, so in history and almost all over the world we are using the Christian calendar. So this is according to the Christian calendar. BC means before Christ, before the birth of Jesus Christ. So before the birth of Jesus Christ, it was called as BC. The times, the historical events, whatever it is recorded in history, it was considered as before Christ. And CE, common era, after the birth of Jesus Christ, it was considered as CE, the historical events recorded in CE. So these, to know about the past and the present, so this chronology helps. So that's why the dates are very essential. Just read the textbook, students, underline the important points, or if you got any complicated, just call us. We are here to solve your problems. Just keep reading the textbook, then only you can understand the concept. Okay, if you have any doubts, please contact us. So I think this much is enough. So this is about the lesson 1 history. Thank you.